Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to my SimCity video tutorials. In this video I'm going to continue on with my seed city for my new multi-city region and develop it by zoning residential, commercial and industry, and then removing the industry in order to have just the mines that are extracting the raw ore, the coal, and producing money in order to be able to supply the other cities with enough simoleons to grow to high density. Now, in this city, I have chosen this part here and this part here to be residential and commercial, while my industry is going to be over here. The two mines for coal are going to be here, while the two mines for ore are going to be here and here. Now, I'm going to spend some time zoning and starting this city. My zones are first going to be on both sides of these streets, but later on, as I go to medium density, they are only going to go up on this side, while on the right side up here. I start with holding the control button and zoning everything as residential, while only later on I will delete the pieces that I do not like and then creating commercial out from some of these green parks that represent residential. This piece here is not going to be either residential or commercial because this is where I will have my school and my town hall. This spot here I have left for the train station, so that is why this part here is not going to be zoned. Now, before I allow any commercial or any sims to actually move into this residential, I have to first choose where I'm going to have my high wealth citizens. I could put them on a corner like here, or I could choose to put some of them here as well. Now, having two places with high wealth residential is sometimes a very good idea because high wealth residential is not going to use any mass transportation systems but only drive to their jobs and shops. So when you're choosing where you want to place your high wealths, you have to keep that in mind. At the moment, I think I'm going to choose and have a very small piece of high wealth about here and another piece right here. The other parts are going to be separated for a little bit of medium wealth and the rest will be low wealth. So in order to have high wealth here, I have to create some high wealth land value. This can be achieved by using some of these parks. Now, you have to keep in mind where exactly are they going to give you this area of effect. And also you have to keep in mind just how big are the high wealth houses. They take around the same amount of space as a high density building. So you have to somehow find a way to see just how big that is. You can use, for example, a power plant just to gauge about the size that a high wealth house would take. So as far as I can see here, if I were to place a park, it would have to be after this light post here. So it would have to be around here somewhere. So when I take this plaza and place it here, now I'm expecting this place here to be a high wealth residence. This park has now created only low land value. It requires another park for it to intersect with its area of effect in order to create high wealth land value. So I'm going to place this other park right here. Now, as you can see, these two parks have created high wealth land value. Around it there is medium land value, and this is just enough for about 4 high wealth medium density buildings. So that is the same thing I'm going to do up here. The only difference is I have to see just how much room is there in here. So if we say that this is one high density building, this would be another one, and this would be a third. So there is enough space here for 3 high density buildings. Now, if I were to place any parks, that would reduce their number to 2.5, which means that the rest of the space would be unavailable to have a high density building. So if I want to have high wealth land value here, I have to place parks on its edges in order to have those buildings. Or alternatively, I could move this road down here and then place the parks and still have enough room for 3 high wealth, high density buildings. So what I have chosen is to remove this road from this place and this one from here, place it up here, and then place this road down here. Now I have enough room to place parks and still have enough room to have high density, high wealth buildings later on develop here. Since, as I have told you, my high density buildings are going to be turned to the right side. That means that these guys are going to have their exits on this side, and that is where I should park my parks. Now I need to make sure that there is enough space in this corner here for a high wealth, high density building. Now as you can see, if I were to try and push this power plant all the way, it cannot go because of the way I have curved this road. Now I can fix that by having a normal ending like this. And now if I use this building again, you can see that it still isn't possible to move it all the way to that road if you want a high density building. So you're always going to have that small piece right there remaining empty. You can see here that the zone itself can go all the way to the edge, but you cannot actually force a building to be built all the way to the edge. You would have to try and destroy it a couple of times if it decides to move to the side. You could even end up having a building develop all the way to the edge at low density, but once it develops to high density, it may actually end up moving that little space. So when you're preparing to leave enough space for a high density building, you can use this oil power plant to see just how much room you have to leave before you place a park. As far as I can see, I shouldn't go too much over this light post here with my new park. So when I choose this park and I put it right up next to this light post, I'm going to place it here, and there should be just enough space here for a high wealth, high density building. Now, in order to have the high land value go to the left side as well, I'm going to mod this park with another piece that's gonna go right here. Now that this park is creating enough land value, I can just make another park behind it on this side. Now I have to make another line of these parks at an equal distance, just like I did here. So I'm going to again take the old power plant, see that my park shouldn't go far beyond this light post, take a park and place it here. Now hopefully this is just enough space and not too much space for a high wealth, high density building. Also again, I'm going to expand this park with an upgrade and go behind it with another park. As you can see, this entire area has been covered with high wealth land value, and since the high density buildings are going to be going up to the right side of the street, I don't have to be worried about these empty spots here that are medium wealth land value, because the buildings are going to be having their entrances on this side of the street, and that is why it is important for that side of the street to be totally covered in high wealth land value. Now, as these parks have created a lot of high land value, they have also created some medium land value. Now I can exploit further on that and see about creating some more medium land value. I will again use this building to see just how many buildings can be placed at high density in these two blocks. I can see 1, 2, and 3. There isn't really enough space for any additional parks, but as I told you, I will have a school and a town hall in here, That means that those two buildings are going to pull this medium density all the way to the end of the street, and I don't have to place any more parks here. But I will need some more parks here in order to pull this medium light value to the left. Now, you can notice an interesting fact that this park is not unlocked if you look over here. It's called a medium path park and there are no small square parks. But if you go to the modding of the small park, you will find a small park that is a square in size. The problematic part about this is that this park does actually allow for a much higher area of effect than the small park, but as you can see here. But the trick is you can only place it once you have already placed one park. So if you were, for example, to place this tall tree row, let's say about here, you could then mod it with this small park and get a much larger area of effect for the land value. Now I consider this pretty much finished. I have the high land value, the medium land value, and no land value. On this side I have this high land value and also this part of medium land value. I could expand on this medium a little bit by using these parks, just to make sure that I'm going to have enough medium wealth workers for this city. If I need any more, I can always expand either here or in this part. Now that you have the land value set up, you can think about commercial. Now, as I have a lot of these high wealth parks over here, these high wealth citizens are not really going to ask for need a lot of shops. Neither are these guys, but the medium wealth, even though there are more than a few parks now for medium wealth citizens, they are still going to ask to have a lot of shops. Your best bet pretty much is to place shops on the intersections. This is because you want as many sims to have quick access to those shops, but you also want the workers to be able to get into those shops fast and get out of them fast without having to go through too much traffic and go from one end of the street to the other just to get to their jobs. I will be adding the shops block by block. You can use the shortcut Control C in order to bring up the commercial zone tool, while you can use the Control R or Control E for the residential or industry. As I said, I like to place my commercial at these intersections, and that is why I'll be placing my medium wealth commercial right here. Now the zoning tool itself is not very accurate. For example, as you can see, I had to click twice in order to place my zone here, but only once to place it over here. But still, this zone here and this zone here will both create medium wealth shops, although this one may be a bit wider than this one. It does end up being quite challenging to have exactly the shops and exactly the sizes of shops and wealth levels that you want because of that imprecise way the zoning tool places zones. So that is something you have to constantly keep track of and keep changing whenever you need a new shop. Just like the medium wealth needs shops, so does the low wealth. Placing shops can be a bit tricky because you need to make sure that your sims have shops very close to them because they really do not wish to walk very far to get to a shop. So you have to make sure that not only you have enough shops for those sims, but also that they are close enough for them to walk to them. Depending on the size of the neighborhood, sometimes it is better to have the shops on the edges or the corners or the intersections, however you want to call it, while sometimes it is better to have them in the middle of the street, therefore allowing sims that live either on the right or the left side of a shop to come and walk into a shop. It can also reduce the required number of shops per neighborhood. As I said before, this place here is going to have the city hall and the school, which is most likely going to add some extra land value, medium land value right here. So if I place commercial here, I should be aware of that it's probably going to be medium wealth. So by knowing that fact, I know that if these guys here are going to be low wealth, they also need some extra shops in this part of the neighborhood. On streets where you have already placed parks, there isn't a very high need for shops. You should place a few of them, but you will not need to place as many as you had to place on other streets that did not have any parks in them. You can notice that I have not zoned these areas here. This is because I plan to place the police station and the clinic in this area, while up here on this hill is hopefully going to be enough space to fit my fire station. Now it is only left for us to zone some industry. I need only 7 industrial buildings in order to be able to create a mine. So if I take a look here, I have enough space here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am missing only 1. Now I can use, for example, this spot here and have that remaining 7th. But just to make sure, I will do some overkill and place one more zone over here in order to make sure that I have enough of these industrial dirty buildings in order to be able to create mines when I need them. So now that everything has been zoned out, I have the power, the water and the switch I will turn on once it becomes necessary. I can now start running this city. And I can already place my town hall. Since all my guys are going to be going to the right side, I'm going to place my town hall as well going to the right side. Now as you can see, the town hall is pulling more medium wealth onto this side. I will be naming this city Topaz Toast. Like I said, all the cities in this region are gonna have names like Diamond, Emerald, Ruby, only with some extra naming attached. So this one is called Topaz Toast. Now, in the beginning, I am going to specialize in education in order to get some of these missions and get the money that you can get by fulfilling those missions. So I will be using the guide me in education to make sure that those missions are gonna be given to me as soon as possible, because I want to place the school and have the first school day tomorrow once all the Sims have moved in. And as you can see, here's the mission. He's asking me to plop the town hall, which I have already done, and plop a grade school. I have 50 students attend class. When it comes to power, the wind is already at 17 miles per hour and this power station is generating 5.1 megawatts. That is going to be more than enough for all the Sims at low density. I need to remember to turn on the switch, as I have kept it off in the beginning. And now I'm already at 2,500 plus. As we can see, I'm already producing garbage, but the first garbage collection is not gonna be up till tomorrow morning, so I don't really have to build the garbage dump right now, and I can build it later on, maybe at around 12 o'clock at night, and then the first collection is going to be in the morning. My industry is up and running. They're only annoyed because they do not seem to have enough workers. I should take a look at this. Well, I see. I need 350 low-level workers, 80 medium, and 5 high-level workers. So that may take some time. Now let's see. I have already unlocked the coal and the ore mine, and at this moment I am going to bulldoze all my industry, because I only need my Sims to be working in the mines and not producing pollution with these factories. So the first thing I'm going to do is to unzone all the industry, bulldoze these buildings, and then create my first mine. My first coal mine is going to be right here. And I will be upgrading it right now. Now, since I have a coal mine, I also need a trade depot. My trade depots are going to be right here. I will upgrade it with coal storage lots and extra delivery trucks. Place the coal for export. And now we can take a look at just how many workers do I need. I still need a lot of workers, but a lot less low-level workers than before. By doing this, I have made sure not to pollute the region with air pollution, and whenever I go to another city, there won't be that much air pollution in them when I start the game. As I showed you before, you can't combat air pollution by just sitting in a city at cheetah speed without zoning anything and waiting for the air pollution to run out. But since I am trying to keep this region clean for as long as I can before I make any huge industry in these other cities, I'm going to keep just having mines, because they only create ground pollution. As we take a look at the services, we can see that I have already had one death in this city, and I am really going to need to build a clinic. I am also, since it's almost 12 AM, I need to build a dump, and for the collection of garbage to start as soon as possible. I'm going to mod it right away with a few more of these dump zones. While I will not be building the incinerator right now, because I do not wish to create much air pollution. I'm also going to need the school for the next day, so I am going to build the grade school right about here. I just have to be careful where I build it because I don't wish to take up too much space that may be required by this town hall for its upgrades. There should be enough room here for one upgrade, two upgrades here, and that's probably going to be all the upgrades I'm going to be using, so the school can be here. There will be enough room to mod the school with extra classrooms both here and here. And I should add some more buses. Now I need to place the bus stops. As you remember from my previous videos where I taught you how to place these bus stops, you should always use these streets that are parallel to your actual zones, so that the school buses are not going to go through each and every single one of these streets and both sides of those streets, but the kids are just gonna stream from these residential houses, go up to the edge and be picked up by the school buses. I seem to have another mission here. I will gain 20,000 if I build a college. Now, I don't really need a college in this city, so I'm not gonna be doing that mission. These kids are most likely going to walk, so I'm not going to place a school bus stop here, but over here, here, here. While the other ones are gonna be here, 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 the other part of the residential also needs these school bus stops. Now that everything has been covered with school bus stops, I'm sure that I'm going to be able to fill up this school. Now let's see, what do we have here? Making the grade. I can now get more money from this education specialization by expanding a classroom onto the grade school and having 80 students attend class. But I seem to have reached the end of my budget, so I need to go to cheetah speed and get some more cash. There we go, 10,000 should be just enough for another classroom. There we go. Now I have reduced my income by having destroyed the industry, but the mine, as soon as it starts working, is going to produce more than enough coal for its exports to turn a profit. I seem to have managed to go beyond my capacity with power, so I'm going to need another of these small horizontal turbines. Now again, I'm fine with the amount of power that I have. My water capacity is almost maxed out because of this mine, while my sewage is almost up to capacity as well. Now as you can see, having a lot of low density housing and commercial together with a coal mine is just enough to strain your starting capacity of power, water and sewage, but not enough to go over. Now we seem to have another mission. It asks me to plop another 2 school bus stops and 2 more buses. 2 buses, check. 2 more bus stops. I seem to have reached the maximum number of patients in the clinic, so I need to expand that as well. As you can see, by finishing these missions, I have just gained the necessary sim allowance to expand my city. Now to plan those 2 more school bus stops, well, let's say we put one here. And one more in here. Now that that's been completed, I'm going to get some more cash. And I'm already up to 50,000. Now I seem to have reached my first fire. I should pause the game, and luckily there's exactly one spot for the fire station. Perfect. Now that that's been handled, I should check my crime. I still have no crime committed in my city, so I will not be needing the police station for some time. I should check my citizens. I see, oh, this looks perfect. Only 9 unemployed, 25 and 24 of medium wealth and high wealth. Necessary, unsatisfied 136 and 18. That is mostly excellent. If we take a look at the happiness level, we can see that the high wealth citizens are the ones that go up most quickly. This is because these parks provide more than enough happiness for their shoppers to bring back home. Now, I am kinda annoyed whenever I have low wealth citizens building housing in Highland Value, so I am going to be deleting more than a few of them. You can spot them easily when you enter the happiness overlay because of their very small size in this overlay. Now you might say, why did I not just leave them there? What's the problem? Well, the problem is that if you leave those low wealth sims next to your high wealth and medium wealth sims, and they do not have any shops nearby or parks to gain happiness, they're going to be constantly unhappy and reduce the happiness of the surrounding high wealth and medium wealth citizens. All of these shops seem to be medium wealth, while the guys down the street are low wealth. This means that I'm going to bulldoze them and keep bulldozing until they only create low wealth shops and then unzone. There we go, 1. 2 low wealth shops. Now these guys should be happy as well. And as you can see, the first criminal in the city has made this medium wealth require from me a police station. So I am going to do exactly that and build a police station. I'm going to upgrade it with another 2 cars just to make sure I don't have any more problems with criminals in this city. I seem to have already filled up the classroom to the max capacity of 350. Now since it's past school time, I'm going to turn off the school up until 3 AM tomorrow. Now, if I don't gain any more missions to increase the capacity of the grade school, I will be increasing the capacity myself because I don't wish for too many sims to be uneducated for too long. This coal mine has almost reached the maximum capacity with 1 mine shaft, so I will be adding another. The trade depot seems to be exporting goods very quickly. Well, I think this is pretty much everything I should be covering in this video. Thank you for watching and please stay tuned on my channel for more.